Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be going over the Nexomon 1 type chart, as while a similar topic to the Extinction type chart, which we did cover last year, there are some notable differences due to the lack of Ghost and Psychic types present within the sequel. That said, this video will be a quick breakdown of all the types and lore implications between the matchups. So, as per the usual, make sure to sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. Alright, so this image goes over the type matchups in a relatively straightforward way, but I will note that I've seen some people express their disdain with it because it doesn't showcase the defensive capabilities of some of these types. But I will say that Nexomon is very simple in that if it's very effective one way, it's not very effective or resisted the other way. So with that knowledge in mind, we will break down each type one at a time. First up, we have the Fire type, the type that encapsulates Nexomon with the ability to wield various forms of heat and, of course, fire. This type is advantageous against plants, since fire burns away at them, as well as wind. Now, wind is one of those that could go either way, but my guess as to the justification for this is that wind can actually make a fire spread if the fire is large enough. It's disadvantageous to minerals since rocks and dirt aren't exactly combustible, and water since water puts out fire. Next up is the Water type, which features the more aquatic Nexomon and those that imbue ice. This type is advantageous against fire, as we just discussed, and mineral due to the fact that water can corrode at various rocks and minerals. This is called water corrosion. It's disadvantageous to electric due to the fact that water is an excellent conductor, and plants, since plants absorb water in order to grow. The plant type encompasses the Nexomon that are either imbued with some type of plant life or are actually plants themselves. This type is advantageous against water for reasons we've just discussed, and electric likely because wood makes for a poor conductor. It's disadvantageous to fire again because fire burns away at them, and wind likely because plants are rooted to the ground and hurricanes can absolutely devastate plant life, as well as a grounded enemy would have a lot of trouble striking a flying enemy. Next, we got Wind, which consists of the Nexomon that can either utilize and control the winds or are bird-like in nature. This type is advantageous against plant, as we just discussed, and mineral, since mineral is also the more earthly type and once again means it's grounded, whereas wind types can move through the air freely. It's disadvantageous to fire, as we just stated previously regarding it causing spread, and electric, since lightning tends to strike those at high altitudes. The Mineral type incorporates Nexomon that are either made up of rocks or utilize them in combat. This is sort of like a rock and ground type combination, if you would. This type is advantageous against fire once again, as rocks are not combustible and because sand can put out fire, as well as electric since the earth itself is grounded. It's disadvantageous to wind, just like we had mentioned, and water again due to water corrosion. The electric type is made up of Nexomon that can utilize various forms of electricity. This type is advantageous to wind and water due to high altitudes and conduction, both of which we mentioned earlier. This type is disadvantageous to earth and plant due to both types being poor conductors, again as previously mentioned. And finally, last but not least, we have the Normal type, which in this game is completely neutral, no weaknesses and no resistances. So there you go, guys. That was a quick guide on the Nexomon type chart and some of the implications behind why some of these types interact in the ways that they do. Nexomon 1 has a much simpler type chart, and thus this video is a lot shorter as a result than our Extinction breakdown, but sometimes simplicity is good because it'll help you remember the type chart much more easily than if it was overly complicated. If you do enjoy videos like these or just a fan of Nexomon or monster taming in general, definitely subscribe to the channel. There's going to be tons of Nexomon content coming out over the next few weeks because Nexomon 1's coming out, so we really got to cover every aspect of that game like we did for Extinction, as well as the Nexomon Extinction DLC when that does pop as well. You could also check me out on Twitter at GymLeaderEd, as well as my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Special thanks to the channel's first mythical backer, that being StealCase, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.